Is a deal.
Iran's foreign ministry this morning saying that the country is not currently holding talks with the U.S., but is in discussions with Oman over the strait.
Fox's Alexandria Hoff, with the president saying today Iranian leadership is unbelievably duplicitous. Indiana Republican Senator Jim Banks warning Iran.
If the Iranians don't come to the table and rapidly make an agreement to end their nuclear program and reopen the strait, then President Trump is going to bomb the hell out of him again.
With word of a potential deal, West Texas Intermediate crude is now below $79 a barrel. Wall Street, the Dow, is trading more than 500 points higher. Senate confirmation for acting Attorney General Todd Blanche to take that job permanently, now more likely. Two Republican senators, Cornyn of Texas and Tillis of North Carolina, had been threatening to block his confirmation, but now say they will vote for it. Over the weekend, Blanche rescinding plans for a $1.8 billion anti-weaponization fund to compensate people who'd believed they'd been prosecuted unfairly by the Biden Justice Department. Lighter winds and lower temperatures forecast in Washington state today. That may help in the fight against several raging wildfires.
What makes these fires so concerning is how close this has all been to homes, to neighborhoods, to businesses. Over 600 structures have been destroyed. At this point in time, no injuries, no fatalities, but that could change given the wide-scale range of this fire.
Fox's Sarah Allegre. America is listening to Fox News.
Now, your official weather forecast.
This afternoon will be pleasant with abundant sunshine, making it the nicest day of the week with a high of 83. Tonight, expect a crystal clear sky with a low of 65. Tomorrow will be mostly sunny with a high of 84. By Wednesday, it'll be humid with shifting clouds and sun, possibly leading to a thunderstorm in spots late in the afternoon with a high of 81. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Alex Marlowe understands why Iran is still fighting.
They see it as a win-win, and they see that they can beat Trump in a attritional manner. Basically, they can hold on longer if they're willing to hold on longer. And we lose the war at home, the PR war, then they feel like they can declare victory. And so the longer they can drive this thing out, the better. That's their approach.
The Alex Marlowe Show. Afternoons at 3, right before Sean Thompson at 4 on AM 560. The Answer.
Identity theft can cost more than you think. Drained investment accounts, stolen tax returns, lost wages, expenses for lawyers. It's a lot. That's why LifeLock is backed by the $1 Million Protection Package, which covers up to $1 million for stolen funds, fees, and experts and lawyers, and out-of-pocket expenses. Don't face the burden of identity theft alone. Protect your future and finances with LifeLock. Join now. Save up to 30% off your first year with promo code BECK at LifeLock.com. 1-800-LifeLock, promo code BECK. LifeLock.com. Terms to apply.
A small business affirmation from Progressive. Plumbers, today will be a good day. You will be profitable. Your clients will be nice. No one will stand over you and tell you how to fix the thing they actually hired you to fix. You will also feel at peace after switching to Progressive, America's #1 commercial auto insurer. See if you can save in as little as 8 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. #1 commercial auto insurer from the NAIC's 2024 national premium data.
Results may vary and are not guaranteed. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. What if the person you're meant to be is just one decision away? If alcohol has become a bigger part of your life than you ever intended, maybe it's time for a fresh start. A chance to live with more purpose and more clarity. Choose Your Horizon can help. Choose Your Horizon is a discreet online program designed by a Mayo Clinic trained doctor to help you cut back or quit drinking from the privacy of your home. We provide FDA-approved medication that helps reduce alcohol cravings, along with optional coaching, health testing, and ongoing support. Whether your goal is to cut back, take control, or stop drinking completely, Choose Your Horizon lets you choose the level of support that's right for you. Choose Your Horizon is completely private and designed to fit your schedule. No rehab, no judgment, just results. A better tomorrow begins with one choice today. To get your free same-day doctor consultation, text HOPE to 54504. Text HOPE to 54504. Text HOPE to 54504 now.
Ladies, you've probably gotten real good at working around your nonstop joint pain. That's what multitasking women like you do, right? When your knees and hips scream, you shift your weight or skip workouts on really bad days. Dan Proft here. Maybe your doctor told you it's pain from arthritis, you need surgery. Well, before you make that decision, get a second opinion from my friend Dr. Caravelli and her team at QC Kinetics. They're the best. I personally recommend them. I've seen the results myself. There's no undo button from surgery, especially joint replacement. QC Kinetics works with busy women like you to keep you going while the regenerative treatments do their work relieving pain. No scalpel, no long recovery, just your body's natural healing process that may help patients avoid surgery altogether. That's exactly why women like you have turned to QC Kinetics, so they can continue to get better while life goes on. Consultations are free. Have a conversation and tell them Dan Proft sent you when you do. Call 312-827-6261. That number again, 312-827-6261. Once more, call 312-827-6261.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Goldilocks, offering 24/7 security solutions for homes and businesses. Call them today at 708-889-5600.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
The following live program is sponsored by Breakthrough Ideas.
AM 560, The Answer. It's time for breaking news, expert insight, and informed commentary on what's happening in Springfield, Chicago, and beyond. Because an informed citizenry is the only way to protect our republic. It's time for The Real Story with Jeannie Ives and Amy Jacobson.
What a day for Paul Vallis to be filling in for Jeannie Ives. Welcome to The Real Story. Amy Jacobson here. Jeannie taking the day off. She will be back tomorrow. But as always, a busy weekend and the big announcement. Paul Vallis, we knew it was coming. Ali G, otherwise known as Alexi Giannoulias, your Secretary of State, put out on social media yesterday a 2-minute video of why he's running. This, of course, before he had the big rally at the IBEW.
In times like these, Chicago needs a mayor.
I know what you're thinking. Not another political ad. Believe me, I hate him as much as you do. That's why I'm not going to insult you with false political promises. And
okay, first of all, he started out with a lie. I'm sick of political ads. I'm not going to insult you. All he does is political ads. He loves it. And so puts on social media him working out at the gym or him laying on his belly like a kindergartner with his shoes off on the computer saying, I'm working hard for the state of Illinois. No, get off the floor, put your shoes on, and be a man.
Well, look, with how much has he raised? $20 million, $21 million?
Yeah, so far he's raised $22 million.
And we're going to be inundated with political ads. You've already seen him. I was watching the White Sox game the other day, and I think I saw 2 ads from Giannoulias. So, yeah, we're going to be inundated. So for a guy who doesn't want to inundate you with political ads, that's all we're going to get.
Yeah, and the one over the weekend he put got next. He had a best shot of his feet bouncing a basketball. He put the basketball down, walked off frame, and it said got next, meaning he's going to be the next mayor.
Yeah, I guess.
And he had a long sit-down interview with Marianne Ahern at a Greek restaurant, Paul Vallis. Can you imagine a Greek in a restaurant? And he talked about, first question, why are you doing this? You're Secretary of State. What's the reason?
Well, I love the city of Chicago. I love it with every ounce of my soul and my heart. My parents were immigrants. They met here in Chicago. I lived here my whole life. We're raising our 4 girls here. I'm never leaving Chicago. I hope my girls never leave Chicago, and I remain maniacally bullish on the city's future.
How rehearsed do you think that answer was? Because he said it 4 different times. I watched the 19-minute interview.
Yeah.
4 different times he said, I'm doing this for my children. My wife lives here, and I hope my kids live here.
Well, look, there are so many candidates running. One hopes that the media will really scrutinize their record. Because he's had a lot of controversies in his history, the Broadway bank scandal, and of course, the significant loss in people's investment earnings in the if you remember the college savings bond program that they had. I forgot what the name of it was, and of course, we're still waiting to see the postmortem from the controversies involving the trucker licenses.
Well, that's the thing. According to the U.S. Transportation Secretary, John Duffy, in Illinois, 1 in 5 Illinoisans have a CDL license, and they're illegal. And that is a problem. And Marianne, I love her to death. She had 20 minutes with him. Why wouldn't you ask about that? On behalf of Joe Abraham, who lost his daughter Katie, and her friend Chloe, and severely injured others. And there's so many more, sadly, Illinoisans who've been killed by people who have driver's license that are undocumented migrants. So it's House Bill 3882. I know everybody loves House bills. But that was signed by Governor Pritzker in 2023, and it took effect July 1st, 2024. And it replaced those temporary visitor driver's licenses with standard Illinois driver's licenses for for eligible non-citizens, including undocumented immigrants.
Well, look, the issue is, are these candidates, are they going to get a free ride, or is the media really going to scrutinize their records? I mean, I'm old enough to remember a time when any one of those controversies would have destroyed someone's political career,
or people go in jail like George Ryan.
But now it's. I mean, the question is the media going to do their homework this time around? Plus, look, I mean. Where are you on the issues? Now, there's certainly time to articulate what you're going to do about the Chicago public schools, what you're going to do about public safety, about crime, what you're going to do about corruption in city government. What you're going to do about economic development, what you're going to do to transform the economic policies that are actually driving businesses away from the city of Chicago. I mean, the dramatic shift, everybody talks about, and the mayor brags about how he's holding the line on taxes. But last year, property taxes on residential property grew by almost $600 million. There's been a dramatic tax shift to homeowners and renters. Chicago has seen some of the highest rent increases in the country, driven in large part because of the higher property taxes. Well, what are you going to do about those things?
Well, he didn't really answer. I mean, she did ask him about the head tax, the millionaire tax, for companies that have 500 employees or more.
Right.
He said he was against that because that will drive business away. I was satisfied with that. But then, he talked about teen takeovers. Let's get into that one. I think it's cut 7. Here's his thoughts on teen takeovers and what to do.
So my thought on teen takeovers is it's very troubling. We also have to be clear. Not all teen gatherings are dangerous and violent. There are a lot of kids in Chicago that don't have places to go. So it's a multi-pronged approach. You have to make sure that there are safe places for them to go, that there's activities. I'm a big believer in job training programs over the summer.
Who does he sound like?
Well, he sounds like the mayor.
Yes, he sounds like Mayor Johnson. He sounds like Mayor Lightfoot. 312-642-5600. I should tell you our phone lines are open, and you can text us.
Yeah, look, we all know that you've got to have activities to keep young people engaged, but there has to be accountability. I mean, I would have been much more comfortable for him to say, for him to, qualify or state that obviously there needs to be opportunities for students to get engaged in constructive activities. But at the end of the day, there's no substitute for saying, look, I support giving the police superintendent the ability to issue snap curfews. And I support holding people accountable who violate the public way, who disrupt commerce, who damage public and private property. I mean, think about it for a second. We live in a city where last year they wrote 4 million tickets for related to driving. Speed lights, speed cameras,
I'm very
red light cameras, etc.
I have 7 of them right now.
Yeah, I know. I get them too.
I can't stand them. But I wasn't even driving the car. My kids were, but that's another
Which
issue.
incidentally infuriates my wife because my car is in my wife's name, okay? So she gets them.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Me too. I was like, I was out of town.
Right.
I wasn't even here.
And my wife used to be a police officer. I don't think she's ever gotten a ticket in her life, except the tickets that I've gotten in my car under her name.
So there's 400 million of these tickets that are issued every year.
Yeah, but the point is they write 4 million, they collect $350 million. When was the last time they fined someone from disrupting commerce, from doing the street takeovers, from damaging public and private property, from violating the public way?
It's a hard Chicagoans going to work every day, doing 2, 3, sometimes 4 jobs.
Exactly. Those are the ones who get punished, and individuals who basically disrupt and interfere with our commerce and our way of life get off scot-free. So, yes, we all know that we need to have activities for kids to get engaged in, but we've also got to hold parents accountable, and we've got to give the police the ability to respond immediately because they know when these events are going to happen. They need the power to issue snap curfews and to impose fines if individuals basically do things that are inappropriate.
Got 3 text messages. Paul Vallis is more qualified than any of the 10 individuals who are running for the mayor of Chicago. Any chance you might run?
No.
Is it slim to none and slim left town?
Well, I think there are definite adults in this race.
Okay.
All right, so among the
another
candidates.
text message from 708. Who is Paul Vallis supporting so far? Do you want to make an announcement? Because you've been here. I mean, you won.
Yeah.
And then you were in a runoff.
Well, let me tell you what I'm going to do. As you know, I've been working with the Urban Center. Obviously, a priority of ours has been to elect a school board that is not bought and sold by the Chicago Teachers Union. And as you know, post-election, I never stopped working. We focused on that. In the first round of school board elections, 6 of the 9 contested seats, the CTU, the Chicago Teachers Union, lost those seats, and with this coming election, there's a good chance that we're going to dislodge the CTU and have a board that's going to be independent. That's the only way you're going to transform the schools. So, and what we've been doing is we've been interviewing all the candidates. Right. Janulius, every candidate announced or intending on running has been interviewed by us, and at some point, I will not hesitate to call out those candidates who I think are just poor imitations of Brandon Johnson, while at the same time identifying the candidates or I believe the candidate that would be most effective as mayor. And it's just too early for me to do that. Because for example, even with Janulius, we want to give him time, all right? He's announced candidates right now. What are you going to do? What's their agenda?
What's your plan?
How are you going to respond to these questions about the controversies in your past?
He said he would meet with Trump because he wants to do what's best for the city of Chicago, even though he can't stand him, and he went on a rant that we're not even going to play for you.
Yeah, and he seems
with
to be
closing Chicago schools that have low enrollment. He said he'd work with the school board to make that happen, yada, yada. I mean, there just wasn't a lot of meat there.
Yeah.
It was more fanfare. And he had about 1,000 people there when he made the announcement. So and I saw Janice Jackson, our former CEO of CPS, behind him. Real quick, let's take a phone call. Ron on the South Side. You're on The Real Story. Hi, Ron.
Hey, good morning, Amy. And hey, Paul, pleasure hearing you this morning. I worked, for you when you ran.
Well, thank you.
And you made a good point. The media is going to have to do its job, okay, and really scrutinize these candidates. And now you mentioned that Brandon. I mean, Janulius sounds like Brandon because he is like him. It's the same policies.
Yeah, he said he was progressive too. It was weird. Like, in what way?
So
are you a DSA member?
Yeah, what is that? Yeah,
thanks, Ron, for the phone call. Appreciate
Ron,
it.
What does that mean? But let me tell you what's going to happen. You have the mainstream media. I'm not optimistic that they are going to scrutinize these candidates, particularly Janulius. But there are other media outlets out there, and their followers are you have influencers and other media outlets out there who he's
going to have to answer the tough questions because when things got tough after his announcement, somebody asked one kind of serious question. His press woman shut it down right away.
Yeah, exactly.
It was, what was it about? I can't remember, but it was, that's a little taste, a little preview of what it's going to be like for reporters out there.
Right, for any candidate who thinks that they're going to be able to sail through not answering questions. Well, there are too many independent media outlets out there that are going to ask the questions, are going to hold you accountable, and are going to call out the mainstream media when they're not asking those type of questions and they're giving someone a free ride.
All right, that voice belongs to Paul Vallis. We're going to take a break from this. Coming up, the investigation is out on former state rep Harry Benton. We'll speak with Illinois House Minority Leader Tony McCumbee after this.
Don't believe the official narrative? You've got the real story on AM 560, The Answer.
Hi, I'm Ken Mariotti, owner of Woodland Windows and Doors, a third-generation family-owned business since 1969. We know you're bombarded by choices when shopping for new windows or doors, so we're inviting you to experience the Woodland difference. For decades, we have been transforming living spaces with Marvin Windows, a fifth-generation family business. Marvin replacement windows have been known to increase the warmth of your cold rooms by 10 degrees. Think about that, 10 degrees warmer. When you welcome Woodland into your home, you will get a product expert to transform your living spaces, full-time, dedicated professional installers that you can trust in your home, along with the best products like Marvin. These are the reasons we're proud of our 5-star reviews and family legacy. No gimmicks, no pressure, and upfront pricing are why Woodland Windows and Doors is your trusted window and door expert in Chicagoland. Visit woodlandwindows.com to book your free in-home expert consultation. That's woodlandwindows.com or stop by our showroom at the corner of Lake and Geary in Roselle.
Don't believe the official narrative? You've got the real story on AM 560, The Answer.
560 The Answer. 560 The Answer. 560 The Answer. 560 The Answer. 560 The Answer. 560 The Answer. 560 The Answer. 560 The Answer. 560 The Answer. 560 The Answer. 560 The Answer. 560 The Answer. 560 The Answer. 560 The Answer. 560 The Answer. 560 The Answer. 560 The Answer. 560 The Answer. 560 The Answer. 560 The Answer. 560 The Answer. 560 The Answer. 560 The Answer. 560 The Answer. 560 The Answer. 560 The Answer. 560 The Answer. 560 The Answer. 560 The Answer. 560 The Answer. 560 The Answer. 560 The Answer. 560 The Answer. 560 The Answer. 560 The
Hey, did you ever track down that missing warehouse key?
I forgot all about it.
You forgot? You said that guy was furious when you had to let him go.
That doesn't matter anymore. Goldilocks set us up with new managed access control. We're keyless now. Everyone has a card or fob. Even their phone works.
Huh. You don't have to worry about people copying keys either.
Yeah, never again. Goldilocks allows me to handle everything from my phone or laptop. I can see who came into the building, when they left, restrict their access at night. I can grant temporary access to visitors, too. It takes 30 seconds to add or remove someone.
That sounds a lot safer and simpler.
Stop guessing who has access to your building. Set up access controls today by calling Goldilocks at 708-889-5600. Again, that's 708-889-5600 or visit GoldilocksInc.com. Goldilocks. Security under your control.
Have you been watching gold and silver lately? Hard to ignore. Back in January of 2025, silver was under $30 an ounce, and now it's more than doubled. Again. Not bad, right? Some experts say this bull market is just getting started. Others say it's a good time to take some money off the table. Either way, whether you're buying or selling, Fox Valley Coins in Naperville is the place to go. They stock large quantities of all the major bullion coins and bars. And here's what sets them apart. Unlike places that only pay melt value, Fox Valley Coins pays more for high-grade coins and scarcer dates. That's real money left in your pocket. They also buy scrap sterling flatware, jewelry, silver-plated items, and old proof sets. And they specialize in U.S. and foreign collector and investment coins and currency, both buying and selling. Fox Valley Coins, one light north of I-88 on Route 59 at Ferry Road in Naperville. Family-owned with integrity since 1981.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, welcome back to The Real Story. Amy Jacobson, Jeannie Ives. Jeannie is off today, and we're lucky to have Paul Vallis on this big Monday after a fellow Greek has announced that he's going to be running. We'll take your phone calls later on that. But now we're turning to our attention to something that dropped, of course, on a Friday afternoon. Why do they do that? Because I believe timing is everything.
Of course.
A story you don't want people to see, always on a Friday afternoon. Stories you want people to see on Sundays. That's why Janulius was brilliant in having that thing, because then that story could last all week. This probably didn't even get discussed on any mainstream medias, but it was the Office of the Legislative Inspector General, Michael McCuskey, his report on former state rep Harry Benton and his relationship with somebody who was in his office. We are not going to say her name. And the same lady was also Speaker Welch's intern at some point in time. So some of the allegations, he told her, the reason I ran for office was to get away from my wife. I don't find that so egregious. But then he asked her, make sure you don't forget to wear something underneath that when he was talking about her attire. Yeah, no.
That kind of crosses the line.
Yeah, it definitely crosses the line. He asked her to stay at her friend's condo with him in the city, and she said that put me in an extremely awkward situation. He makes me feel better now that I have this on you. Like, he's made comments like that and sent her an OnlyFans picture. And it's creepy. Is it criminal? No, but he resigned. But it took 3 years for
3
this.
years.
And we're really glad that the Illinois House Republicans did something. I wasn't sure at first if they were going to do anything about this because Crespo, who's a state rep in the suburbs, he asked for Speaker Welch to resign because he's got stink on himself from this. The statement from the House Republican women, they reached across the aisle. They said to our female colleagues on the other side of the aisle, we are asking you to join us in demanding the truth. Your voice matters, your leadership matters, and your willingness to stand together can change the culture of this institution. And one woman who authored that is House Minority Leader Toni McCumbee, and she joins us now. Good morning, Toni. How are you?
Good morning.
Good
morning. It just sounds more disgusting every time I hear the background.
I know. And the fact that he not only hid this for 3 years, he invited this victim to meet him and Harry at a bar in Springfield. That's creepy too. But also, he was supporting his reelection campaign and gave him what, $1.4 million or helped raise that money?
Yeah, absolutely. So in 2023, the allegations came forward to, the speaker and the speaker's office, and they were just ignored. Not even just in 2023. It took months to even speak with Representative Benton. I'm glad Harry's gone. He was a creep. That's one thing. But for the Speaker of the House, who got the position, let's remind everybody, Madigan had a similar situation with senior staff, not even a young staffer, which is almost worse. Somebody who, 22, 23 years old feels a different pressure than somebody who's in a senior staff position. This was not only nothing was done, but then this guy was put forward, spent $1.4 million to get him reelected. And they didn't have to do that because it wouldn't have changed the numbers for the supermajority. Losing one Dem seat, he had nothing to lose here. But it was Speaker Welch's ego. And then we find out additional folks came forward. There were other victims. So had this been handled in 2023, were the other two and possibly more, would they have been safe? I would say yes.
And now Speaker Welch is under investigation, too, not only for the alleged cover-up, but he's been sending quite inappropriate responses to women in bikinis photos on Instagram, and one including this woman who used to be a intern for him. And there's emojis with him drooling and emojis with his eyes popping out. I mean, it's extremely juvenile. I wonder what his wife thinks about all that. And he has kids that probably send those same emojis, or maybe they're more grown up than he is.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's certainly not how the Speaker of the House, the most powerful position, should be behaving whatsoever. And it continues, he keeps saying, we need to change our policies, and HR needs to be, we need to change our human resource problems. This is not a House problem. This is a Welch problem. We utilize for our district staff and our members, our HR department. That's what it's there for. So these folks he's been the Speaker for 6 years, and they've had no support. And I'm hearing, we just had a National Legislators Convention in Chicago, and hearing from Dem women, Dem staff, men and Dem members, and they're continuously being bullied right now to not come out strongly against the Speaker. And this is exactly the culture of corruption and harassment that we should not have. People need to feel safe to come forward, and certainly, I hope people do. I will listen. I will help them. Certainly, anybody that needs anything, come forward. We need to get this man out of there, and somebody who will help you and listen to you.
Well, I don't even think he has the support of Pritzker, because Governor Pritzker had a press conference on Friday, and he could have stood up for him multiple times, and all he said was, it's not up to me to make the decision of who the Speaker of the House is.
Well, look,
but it is up to the governor to call for his resignation,
right. Yep.
Because this is his as well.
Yeah.
And so he can be wishy-washy like some of the women who have spoke out saying we need to fix things. You had an opportunity to fix things for 6 years. You actually even made the powers of the LIG even less than it was before he got into office.
Look, I think I think this type of behavior has been in the Speaker's own DNA. He has two problems. One is his delay in responding and to this behavior among one of his colleagues, one of the members of his caucus. But also he has his own track record, not only the more recent disclosure about his discussing emojis, but I mean, how did he ever become Speaker in the first place? I mean, he attacked his girlfriend, if you remember. He slammed his girlfriend's face into a kitchen table. You
kitchen counter, but they told me it was for Micah, not
granite. Yeah, it was for Micah, so I guess that's okay. And then, of course, he harassed, when he was on the school board, he harassed someone who was an employee for the school district. So, I thought he got free ride when his name emerged as a possible replacement for Madigan.
Hey, Tony, can we keep you on the line after the break, because we have a few more questions for you?
Yeah, you bet.
Okay.
You bet.
We'll be right back. You're listening to The Real Story on AM 560, The Answer.
Sean Fest returns on August 28th at the Westin Chicago Northwest in Itasca. Be a part of a live, on-location broadcast of The Sean Thompson Show, including a performance of the national anthem, followed by live music, food, drinks, and an opportunity to meet Sean Thompson. Registration is free. Go to 560theanswer.com/SeanFest. That's 560theanswer.com/SHAUN Fest. Sponsored in part by LeavingIL.com and by Unique Wooden Flags.
Fox News, I'm Gianna Gelosi. President Trump says a deal with Iran is imminent. Peace talks expected to resume today after he called off another massive round of strikes this weekend.
International focus does remain on the Strait of Hormuz, where an explosion was heard this morning by a tanker, according to maritime tracking groups. Reports do indicate a new deal could see the strait open for 60 days without fees.
As Fox's Trey Yanks. Meantime, life-threatening and fast-moving wildfires in the Northwest already scorching nearly 2 million acres. Washington Governor Bob Ferguson declared a state of emergency as tens of thousands are forced to evacuate their homes in the Spokane area.
Just in a matter of hours, their lives changed in deeply dramatic and fundamental ways. And so it's difficult to find words when folks have experienced a loss like that.
Officials call it the largest natural disaster in Spokane history. America's listening to Fox News.
Now, your official weather forecast.
This afternoon will be pleasant with plenty of sunshine, making it the nicest day of the week with a high of 83. Tonight, expect a crystal clear sky with a low of 65. Tomorrow will be mostly sunny with a high of 84. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Hair Volume from New Nordic will make your hair look thick and healthy. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and NewNordicUSA.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
The mainstream media isn't just biased. They're hiding stories from you, deliberately. Restoration News is changing that. With elite researchers and fearless writers, Restoration News is the conservative media force fighting back in the information war for America's future. Download the Restoration News mobile app today or visit restoration-news.com. That's restoration-news.com. Real stories, real truth. It's time you knew what they don't want you to know.
Foundations of Freedom, a look at America's founding principles and the leaders who shaped our nation.
In 1796, George Washington made one of the most consequential decisions in American history. He chose not to seek a third term as president. So why does that matter? Because America was not built on permanent rulers. It was built on ordered liberty. Faith teaches that authority is a stewardship, not a possession. Leaders are accountable to God for how they use power. And why does that still matter today? Because republics survive when leaders respect limits and citizens defend them. Washington's lesson still stands. A republic is preserved when power has limits, and public service remains a duty to God and country, not a path to personal rule.
Progressive knows you could have easily taken the freeway, but you took the scenic route to see a waterfall and an oddly busy boiled peanut stand. Discovering the unexpected is exactly why you bought an RV, so protect it with a bundle from Progressive. Because although you may be 3 hours behind schedule, you're 6 jars of jam richer and possibly enrolled in a butter churning workshop. Switch to Progressive and protect your RV, boat, or motorcycle by bundling with your home or auto insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Half a century later, Watergate still shapes how Americans view power, scandal, and trust. This weekend, the America 250 film series presents Watergate Secrets and Betrayals. Revisit the investigation through archival footage, interviews, and new arguments about what happened. Watch Saturday and Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern on Salem News Channel.
Maybe you've thought about taking a cruise. Maybe you've even talked yourself out of it. But this is not just another vacation. This is the Gulf of America cruise. 7 days through the Caribbean with Mike Gallagher, Scott Jennings, Larry O'Connor, Jennifer Horn, and a ship full of people who love this country. No packing and unpacking, no complicated planning, just great destinations, meaningful conversations, and a once-in-a-generation celebration of America's 250th. This November, be there. Text CRUISE to 94878 to book your cabin today.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Goldilocks, offering smart security systems to homes and businesses. Call Goldilocks at 708-889-5600.
AM 560, The Answer.
Welcome back to The Real Story with Jeannie Ives and Amy Jacobson. Jeannie will be back tomorrow. We have our resident former mayoral candidate, CEO of CPS, all-around good guy, Paul Vallis. And you're Greek, commentating on a
That's
Greek.
right.
I mean,
That's
this
right.
is just a big day. Yeah. But we want to pick up our conversation we were having with Illinois House Minority Leader Tony McCombie. We want to focus now on the CPS budget. Apparently, the Chicago School Board passed a budget assuming, because we love assumptions, that lawmakers in Springfield are going to pony up $150 million. Chris Welch, who has his feet to the fire, needs this and told unions they're going to get it.
I will lead that effort in the veto session. We've got 2 weeks in November that we can get it done, and you got my support, 110%.
Oh, does he really have the support, Tony McCombie?
Yeah, I would say no. I think I heard the governor stated that he made that comment. Who the governor is, the one who signs the budget. He hadn't heard from the speaker and like to know what his plan is. So I think this is just a ploy for protection for him, to have this group rally around him to keep him as speaker. But let's be honest, he's not the one with the power of the purse here on this. That's the governor. So they should be going to him. And when we're talking about, and I know this is Paul's one of his topics of interest here. When we're talking about CPS and great op-ed, Paul, too, by the way.
Thank you.
CPS historically have always paid their own pensions. And even in the late 90s, they were fully funded and in a much better place before we did the ramp up. And we now, the taxpayers of Illinois, all over Illinois, since the evidence-based funding model in 2018, we as a state are the ones picking up their normal costs. So I think we need to go farther. If CPS is asking for $150 million, what is their plan for, the loss of enrollment? What's their plan for consolidation? What's their plan for consolidation of administrators or cutting administrators? I think there's a much bigger topic here. And let's look at outcomes. We're going to put $150 million more of state funding without the outcomes.
Right. And it's a violation of state law, right? If you get, I'm sorry for stepping on your toes, but if it's a violation of state law, because if you pay one school district this amount, you have to pay similar to other school districts. So here's Governor Pritzker when asked on Friday about this $150 million. Where's it going to come from?
We're not yet where we need to be. I want to do more. And at the same time, I'm a big believer in, and I think you've seen this, balanced budgets. You have to balance the budget.
And that's the thing. Now they're saying that they're going to run out of money in September, that teachers are not going to be getting paid, that September paycheck is not going to come. So how do we resolve this? Is it, Paul?
There's a lot to unpack here, but let me preface my remarks by saying no, Governor Pritzker doesn't believe in balanced budgets, but that's another thing. That's another problem.
Whole nother topic.
Yeah, so let's be on the record for saying that. Look, the bottom line is Illinois is now, I believe, 8th in the nation in funding for schools, and Chicago Public Schools are among the leaders, if not a leader, maybe second only to New York, among large urban districts on spending per pupil. This year they will spend about $33,000 per pupil. Now let me point out, and here's one for you, Tony. Even in the budget that they introduced, that the CEO introduced, they have one staff person for every 6.9 kids, including over 22,000 non-teachers. And since 2019, pre-COVID, the per pupil funding in the Chicago Public Schools has grown by 44%. And what do they have to show for it?
Well, they hired between 2019 and now They hired 10,000 teachers and staff, and 45,000 students have left.
Yeah, well, they actually had, in UNOMAN numbers, they actually had a net increase of 8,250 students, filled positions. But the bottom line is they had a 26% increase in the number of positions when they lost 11% of their enrollment. The problem is the money is not finding its way into the schools. They're holding no one accountable. People continue, had it not been for the massive infusion of illegal migrants, the enrollment would have continued to fall significantly. I mean, there are 124,000 fewer kids in the system today than there were when I left as CEO in 2001. So the bottom line is that you're investing money in a district that is underperforming, and the district itself, they're discriminating against the charter schools in the district. There's 54,000 kids, overwhelmingly Black and Latino, 97%, who go to public charter schools, including 25% of the kids who go to public charter high schools. Well, they get about 1/3 less funding than the traditional schools. So even the money that is going into the system is being disproportionately allocated to the CTU-dominated schools, and the schools. So the charters are getting underfunded. So at the end of the day, it's become a financial sinkhole, and asking for more money with no accountability, simply outrageous.
All right, Illinois House Minority Leader Tony McCombie, thank you so much for joining us. Real quickly, yes or no, do you think Chris Welch will resign, or is he going to stand firm since he has the support of the Black Caucus?
I think he will stand firm. He's been very quiet, and he certainly, with his ego, is not going to apologize for his behavior.
All right, well, keep trying to hold his feet to the fire, and thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
You too.
312-642-5600. Let's go to the phone lines real quick, and let's go to Glenn. Hi, Glenn. How are you?
Okay, how are you doing?
Good. What's up?
So, with regard to these sexual misbehaviors going on, it's at a much higher level, and the U.S. Congress paid out millions of dollars in settlements, and they won't release the data on, what the settlement was and who's got it and who was the perpetrator. So all of these sexual misconduct behaviors, which shows bad judgment, is being kept secret at the congressional level of the United States. It's appalling.
I know, these lawmakers, I mean, really, the hubris. One time, Rep. Benton, this according to the IG's report, told the employee, quote, "See, I'm doing a good service. I'm keeping you off the pole with this job," referring to he's keeping her off the strip pole. I mean, who said, what is wrong with people? All right, thanks, George, for the phone call. Appreciate it. Let's go to Kevin in Austin, Texas. Hi, Kevin. How are you?
Good. Hi, Paul. How are you?
Good.
And you, Amy. Thank you. Hey, tell me, what do you think about, like, the Southwest side? A lot of the union guys are, disgruntled, and they tend to kind of vote Republican sometimes. What do you see Pritzker's, what does he need to do? Let's not talk about his chances, but what does he need to do to perform better than he did last time against Pritzker? I mean, he may not win, but it's an opportunity.
You mean Darren Bailey? Who?
Darren Bailey, yeah.
Oh, that guy. Well, first of all, I don't know where he is.
Yeah.
I mean, I know he allegedly moved to Chicago. He doesn't have press conferences. He puts things out whenever he can on social media, but that's about it. I know that he did, thanks, Kevin, for the phone call. He did address a toll board meeting. He attended one of those.
Members of the Tollway Board, thank you so much for allowing me to speak today. I'm here on behalf of hardworking Illinoisans who are already paying too much. They are paying more for groceries, more for electricity, more in property taxes, and more to just get to work every morning. Now, this board is considering the largest passenger toll increase in Illinois history.
Yeah, they're going to double our tolls, Paul. So he showed up to that, but besides that, I mean, have you ever seen such a complacent, such a non-existent candidate in your time here in Illinois?
Well, he doesn't have money. I think he bought a better pair of glasses now. He doesn't have those, like, Superman glasses.
Right.
Clark Kent glasses and things like that. But the bottom line is he doesn't have money. He's tried to move to the center now which I think could alienate a number of his core supporters.
Well,
Particularly.
what kind of issues is he trying to move on the center?
Well, I think he, in terms of his rhetoric, has tried to distance himself, like from Trump, because he thinks he needs to broaden. And you've seen comments about that, and he's gotten some feedback from that. But look, I mean, the media is still allowing Pritzker to kind of paint him as this kind of far right, MAGA guy. And the media has always given Pritzker a free ride. I did a piece in the Chicago Contrarian today. It's about Pritzker's COVID record and his COVID legacy. Talking about someone who didn't follow the science. Yes, he did. He followed the Fauci science, but at the same time that he was shutting down the economy far longer than he should have, with catastrophic consequences, and keeping schools closed. They're
for 2 years.
For 2 years. The murder rate among school-age youth in Chicago over those 2 years that the schools that the schools were at least partially closed jumped by 50%. And but here's a guy who, at the same time that the economy was suffering, that working families were suffering, he was raising taxes every year, in contrast to the surrounding states that lower taxes. But yet the media gives him a complete free ride. In fact, he tweeted the other day that his COVID reforms were kind of like a model, and they're ready for the next pandemic. And he said
they're ready. For the next
they're ready
pandemic.
for the next pandemic, and they literally allow him to walk through it. And then unfortunately, the media is not going to scrutinize him. And so Bailey, the only way Bailey can get the message out is obviously through commercials and through his and he's simply
But he needs money to do that.
He needs money, and he's not going to raise the money to be able to do that. So fortunately, but I'll tell you, there is an opportunity. Look, politically, it is unhealthy to have one party dominate. And this is spoken from a lifelong Democrat. When you consider that 8 of the 17 congressional districts all have a piece of Chicago in those districts are drawn in a way to maintain overwhelmingly Democratic majority. Right. So this state may be more conservative than the elections may suggest, but it's because of the way the maps are drawn. But if you want to take a shot at Pritzker, it's the Senate race where you can really have an impact.
Well, that's the thing. I thought Raja, since he grossed more money, raised more campaign funds than Juliana Stratton did, but that proves to you that money doesn't matter.
That's right. And look, Stratton, oh my God.
She's unlistenable.
Talking about doubling down and tripling down on the whole, the worst of the progressive agenda. There's an opportunity. There's an opportunity for the Republicans to close ranks and elect a candidate who's going to represent the entire state of Illinois, and Tracy.
312-642-5600. Those are our phone lines. And I wanted to talk more about Pritzker because this was a day, and this went viral. And I did not want it to go viral, but I was one of the press conferences. He used to have daily press conferences. And I always ask about the efficiency of masks. Like, how do you know that this is working, and why? Fauci came forward, basically said that 6 feet apart rule was made up. That was not. Listen to this, just so you can hear this first, because that 6 feet apart rule affected businesses, schools, sports, club sports, everything, church.
CDC is advising all Americans now to wear a cloth mask. Why the change now? Because most of us have been walking around, going to the grocery store, not wearing the mask because that was the original recommendation.
Well, we have to make sure we don't forget that the most important thing is to keep this 6 foot physical distance from individuals.
However, you testified recently, and I'm quoting, this 6 foot rule sort of just appeared.
Staying 6 feet away from people.
This 6 foot rule.
Staying 6 feet apart.
Crippled businesses.
Maintaining 6 feet of distance.
Allowed students to stay at home and not learn.
So important. Maintaining distance of 6 feet or more.
And then just realizing during congressional hearings that he just sort of made that up.
Yeah, he just made up. Look, by
it's
June,
infuriating.
COVID hit in March, and in June, a report came out for Georgia where they studied 60,000 students, and they basically documented that COVID was not having any impact on schools, not only on the children, but also on school district employees. But yet, how long did Pritzker keep the Illinois
78
school?
weeks.
78
He left it up. He
consecutive
left
weeks.
it up to each county, each school district to decide whether or not CPS. I was wondering when this whole thing started. I was like, it's going to be us or San Francisco. Who's going to go to school last?
Right.
San Francisco by a week.
Well, if
they
you
beat us, but this is Pritzker. So I asked him about. So during this press conference, there was a group of moms.
You mean the one that you got kicked out of?
No, he took my press pass, but no one cares about that. But they were standing outside the Illinois Center, screaming like in tears, saying, "If you make us go back to school, our children are going to die, and we're going to die." And I asked him. I said, "Why don't you go outside and tell them the truth?"
Respond to that. Let me just say this. You are spreading misinformation.
Oh, I remember that.
I wish you would stop spreading misinformation. You come in here with a political agenda and you spread misinformation, and I just think you should stop. We now need to protect our children. We need to protect the people in our communities, parents, grandparents, teachers. You are working against that. And it is extremely upsetting for all of us who are trying to keep the rest of the state safe.
No, Republicans are killing people.
Well,
but
look-
right before this happened, his press person, Jordan Abadayu, she said to me, quote, "Amy, if you'd stop complaining about masks, maybe your kids could be back in school." And I thought, you arrogant, you know what? Because she didn't have kids. So the people that didn't have kids did not have a clue what we were dealing with. Not one clue.
Can you believe that there's still people walking around with masks?
Oh, I counted
It's almost
4 on
become
the way
like
to work today.
The cult of the masks. But let me point out, if you remember, there was that snowy. It was over the Christmas holidays. Dan had taken off, and incidentally, for balance, I used to obviously co-host with you when Dan was out of town, but I would also co-host on Progressive Talk with Jonas Vizito.
Yeah.
Until the teachers union put pressure on them to kind of dump me because I was just, obviously
Because you made too much sense.
because right, and Joan was great. Co-hosting with you and Joan, those were great. But for a whole week we did your show, and we talked a lot about the masking, the schools, the school policies, keeping schools closed. So when I was running for governor, and I have to tell this story, and when I was running for, I'm sorry, for governor. When I was running for mayor, I had a meeting with Pritzker because it was my understanding that Pritzker didn't want me. He wanted Chuy Garcia. They were trying, they were not supportive. So I had to have my meeting. And I thought I was going to have a meeting with his staff and talk about policy, about transportation, about schools, about crime. No, we spent an hour. We spent an hour talking about you. He had a long yellow pad, and apparently somebody would follow you on the radio, and they would write anytime.
Oh, they had people listening to our show every day.
They literally had anything I had ever said negative about Pritzker and COVID was on, they had made a note. So I was going through, it was like the Inquisition.
Oh, so did you ever get to talk about policy and
I
crime on the CTA?
I think he asked me one question about the RTA, and transit funding. Of course, we all know his solution there was, not only are they raising tolls, I think in a year or two, like
January.
January
Doubling.
by like 55%. But then they're going to be indexed, so they're going to go up every year, like our gas, the cost of gas tax go. But yeah, we literally. I thought it was kind of creepy that I spent an hour defending my comments critical of him and COVID. He even had a note where I smirked because you said something about him sending his family to Wisconsin, and he said I smirked when you said that on the air. I swear to God, yeah, it was like surreal. It was absolutely surreal.
Do you think he wanted Mayor or Brandon Johnson to be mayor?
Oh
or
yeah,
you?
yeah. Well, they certainly didn't want me, but anyway, it's
Did he
like
meet one-on-one with Mayor Johnson? Well, Brandon Johnson at the time.
I don't know. I had heard that he was really supportive of Chuy Garcia, but as you know, Chuy
He didn't make the runoff.
Chuy had a problem in that he was rabid anti-Israel. Chuy, the only thing I like to joke that the only thing that separates Chuy from the squad is his mustache. He's part of the squad because he's got the big
Mario
mustache.
brother.
But he voted against Iron Dome and all that stuff. So but they certainly didn't want me. But it was just bizarre because I said, this is an opportunity where I could show my chops, so I could say, you'll have a Chicago mayor who really understands the role of the state and the need for partnership and things like that. But no, you were the topic of our conversation.
All right. Well, coming up, let's talk quickly about how the suicide rate went up and what we did and did not do for our children.
Subscribe to the Real Story podcast on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or at 560theanswer.com.
Hi, my name is Dr. Michael Huber. During cold and flu season, a nearby cough or sneeze can trigger a familiar dread, that helpless feeling of being defenseless against an invisible viral threat. But what if you could change the narrative? What if you could fortify your body's natural defenses? This is why I developed Virago, the immune enhancement cocktail designed to give your body the upper hand. Virago is more than a supplement. It's a revolutionary liquid formula packed with 23 powerful natural nutraceuticals for rapid absorption. This unique blend is scientifically crafted to help build resilience and keep you protected. Don't just hope for good health. Make it happen with Virago. Virago and Maha, making America healthy again.
Virago. Order your bottle today online at myvirago.com and use coupon code IMMUNE to save 30%. myvirago.com. Coupon code IMMUNE.
The following contains a celebrity impersonation.
Mr. President, we're seeing reporting that air conditioning systems are failing as temperatures rise. What is your response?
I said, don't wait. People wait until the last second, then suddenly it's hot and nothing works. I understand this stuff probably better than anybody.
Mr. President, why hasn't the White House issued any guidance?
I gave perfect guidance. Call Air Right Heating and Cooling. That's the guidance. If people followed it, we wouldn't even be talking about this.
Sir, but homeowners have so many HVAC options.
They're not like Air Right. You got some bad installers out there, some real bad hombres. I wouldn't let them near the White House. It would be a complete disaster.
Mr. President, there are reports of significant rebates on new systems. Can you confirm?
I've heard about them. A lot of people talking about them. If you miss out, you'd have to be really not so smart. Tremendous savings, let me tell you.
Visit Air Right Heating and Cooling at AIR-RITE.com. Air Right, doing it right since 1959.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, let's go to Marvin in Burlington. You're on The Real Story. Hi, Marvin. How are you?
Yeah, just for a quick visual during COVID, one of the strangest things that I came across, we were doing a job in a cemetery. There wasn't a lot of people around except for dead people. They were in caskets above the ground inside their concrete vaults because they weren't allowing to have any outside ceremony. I mean, an odd situation, but there must have been 30 or 40 of them just above ground, placed by where they were going to be interned. And it was the saddest thing. Their families couldn't even outside have
but for a
graveside ceremony.
They would not allow graveside ceremonies?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that is
correct.
And I bet you guys had to work outside with masks on, right?
No, we didn't do that. We didn't, they weren't going to do that. But I will tell you another quick story. Over on Monroe Street, we were doing a job during COVID when everything was shut down. And the police came by and told us, we'll come by and clean up the mess, but you guys are on your own.
Wow. That's crazy. Thanks, Marvin, for those. I drove around with papers in my car that said I worked for the media. So in case I got stopped going from Chicago to Elk Grove, I'd have paperwork. And I talked to a police officer at the Dunkin' Donuts there on Addison. And I said, you're not really going to arrest us, are you? And he said, no, we're not.
Well, you know, Amy, you and I talked about this, and I saw you agonize over this because you couldn't even get your kids involved in recreational activities. I remember how emotional you became over that. But I mean, you cannot, the damage done to a whole generation of children, damage that will never be repaired. And I've said this over and over again. The murder rate in Chicago over those 2 years skyrocketed among school-age youth. Almost 900 kids were shot.
900 kids shot.
127 were murdered. And during the COVID. And 8% of the murders committed in Chicago during that 2-year period were committed by out-of-school-age youth.
All right,
so it had
Paul Vallis,
catastrophic consequences.
You can read his latest article at Chicago Contrarian. Thank you so much for joining us. God bless. God bless America. We'll see you back here tomorrow at 11 a.m.
It's peaceful here. Quiet. But